So stop whatever you're doing right now. I'm dead serious because what I'm about to show you what Caitlin Clark just did with some random fans in Oregon. This ain't normal, bro. This ain't how superstars move. And honestly, it's got the entire basketball world talking. And not just the WNBA community. We're talking everybody from Nike executives to casual hoopers on Twitter to grown men who never watched a women's basketball game in their life. Everybody got an opinion on this one. And I'm about to break down why this moment, this one interaction might be the most important thing Caitlin Clark has done off the court. Let's get it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, go ahead and smash that subscribe button because we cover everything Caitlin Clark, WNBA, and women's basketball. We don't miss nothing over here. And today we eating good, fam, because the footage that dropped from Caitlin's Nike visit is absolutely insane. Now, look, I've been covering Caitlin Clark for a minute now. Y'all know this, and I've seen her do a lot of incredible stuff on the court. The deep breeze, the impossible passes, the way she just controls the game like she got the cheat codes. But bro, what she did with these fans at Nike headquarters, that's different. That hit different. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. So, here's the setup. Caitlin Clark pulls up to Nike's campus in Oregon. Now, if you don't know, Nike headquarters is like Disneyland for athletes. It's where legends go. Michael Jordan walked those halls. LeBron got his own building out there. Kobe, Serena, the biggest names in sports history have stood where Caitlin was standing. And now she's getting that same treatment. Let that sink in for a second. But here's where it gets crazy. Instead of just doing the typical corporate stuff, photo ops, meetings, handshakes with executives, Caitlin decided to do something nobody expected. She grabbed a basketball, set up a mini hoop, and challenged random fans to a shooting contest. Winner gets an autograph. Loser, well, they still get to say they shot hoops with Caitlin freaking Clark. Bro, the footage is everywhere right now. And when I tell you the internet is going absolutely crazy over this, I ain't exaggerating. We talking millions of views across multiple platforms, comments flooding in, people sharing clips left and right, and the best part, it's all organic. This ain't some manufactured PR stunt. This is just Caitlin being Caitlin. Now, let me paint the picture for you real quick. You got this young kid, couldn't have been older than like 12 or 13, standing there with mini basketball in his hands. He's nervous. You can see it in his face. Hands shaking a little bit. And across from him, one of the most famous athletes on the planet right now. No pressure, right? But here's what got me. Caitlin didn't rush him. She didn't make it awkward. She just smiled and said something like, "Take your time." And waited, patient, humble, like she wasn't a global superstar standing in the middle of Nike headquarters with cameras everywhere. And when that kid took a shot, bro, the whole room held its breath. I'm not going to spoil it yet. We're going to react to all the clips together because there's like 6 or 7 of them floating around and each one got its own wild moment. But what I will say is this. The way Caitlin handled herself throughout all of the shows, exactly why she's built different. Why Nike is betting the house on her. Why her signature shoe is about to break the entire sneaker industry when it drops. Speaking of that shoe, we got to talk about it because there are some major updates coming out of this Nike visit. Stuff that people ain't really putting together yet, but I see it. And trust me, when I lay it all out for you, you're going to understand why this girl is about to be the biggest thing in sports, not just women's sports. Sports, period. But first, let me ask you all something real quick. Before we dive deeper into footage, before we break down what this means for Caitlin's brand and the WNBA negotiations and all that noise, I need to know, did y'all expect this from her? Like, did you think Caitlin Clark was going to pull up to Nike and start shooting around with regular people? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. Alright, now let's get into the first clip because this one right here, this one set the whole tone for the day. And wait till you see what happens. Alright, we back. And look, before I even press play on this first clip, I got to set the scene properly because context matters here. Y'all got to understand what was happening behind the scenes at Nike that day because this wasn't just some random meet and greet. Nah, this was calculated. This was intentional. And when you see the bigger picture, you're going to realize Caitlin Clark and her team are playing chess while everybody else playing checkers. So check it out. Nike flew Caitlin out to their headquarters. We talking Beaverton, Oregon, the mothership, and they didn't just give her a tour. Bro, they rolled out the red carpet like she was royalty. And honestly, she kind of is at this point. We talking banners with her logo everywhere. Custom cookies with the CC branding on them. Coffee cups, tote bags, promotion material, all of it dripped out in Caitlin Clark everything. I ain't never seen Nike do this for anybody like this. And I've been watching Nike athletes for years now. Some people online were saying, oh, they did this with LeBron, too, or Jordan got the same treatment. And look, I ain't going to sit here and disrespect the legends, but let me be real with y'all for a second. When Jordan was coming up, social media didn't exist. When LeBron signed with Nike, YouTube was barely a thing. The landscape is completely different now. And Caitlin Clark is positioned to capitalize on this moment in a way that nobody else in history could have. That's just facts. But here's what really got me thinking. While all this is going on, the promotional stuff, the photo ops, the branding showcase, Caitlin could have just smiled, waved, and called it a day. That's what most athletes would do. Get in, get out, collect a check, and keep it moving. But nah, not Caitlin. She saw a fan standing around. Regular people who probably couldn't believe they were breathing the same air as her, and she made a decision that changed the entire vibe of the day. She grabbed that mini ball, walked over to the little hoop they had set up, and said, and I'm paraphrasing here because the audio on some of these clips ain't perfect. She basically said, who wants to shoot for an autograph? Bro, the energy in that room shifted immediately. You could feel it through the screen. People started pulling out their phones. Kids' eyes got wide. Adults who probably make six figures at Nike started acting like they was 12 years old again. And Caitlin, she just stood there grinning, waiting for somebody to step up. Now, let's watch this first clip together because this is where it gets real. This young girl looked like she was maybe 10 or 11. She steps up first, nervous as hell. You can see her mom in the background recording, probably thinking, please don't embarrass yourself on camera. And this little girl takes a shot from what looks like a pretty decent distance for that tiny hoop. We're talking like 8-9 feet maybe. Not easy, especially with all those eyes on you. And she bricks it. Not even close, bro. The ball goes flying off to the side. Crowd gets quiet for a second. And Caitlin Clark at 23 years old already gets that. Some athletes go their whole career and never figure that out. Now, the internet being the internet, some people in the comments was like, oh, she was supposed to sign it anyway. That's the whole point. And to those people, I say, you missing the point entirely. It ain't about what she was supposed to do. It's about how she did it. The warmth, the genuineness, the fact that she didn't make that little girl feel like a loser from missing. That's what matters. But hold up, that was just the first interaction because what happened next with this young man who stepped up to the challenge? That's when things got really interesting. And I ain't going to lie to you. I had to rewatch this clip like 5 times because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Okay, so boom. After that wholesome moment with the little girl, the energy in the room completely changed. People started getting hype. You could hear the chatter building up. Everybody wanted to turn now. And standing off to the side was this young man. Looked like he was maybe 15, 16 years old. And you could tell he was ready. Like this kid had been waiting his whole life for a moment like this and didn't even know it until right then. Now, here's what made this different from the first attempt. This kid had confidence. You know how you can just look at somebody and tell they got that dog in them? That was this kid. No hesitation, no shaky hands. He stepped up to that line like he belonged there, like he'd been shooting hoops with Caitlin Clark his whole life. And Caitlin noticed it, too. You could see her expression change. She went from that supportive, encouraging vibe to something else. Almost like respect, like she recognized a competitor when she saw one. And bro, that right there tells you everything you need to know about Caitlin's mentality. Even in a fun, casual moment like this. She's locked in. She's always competing, always evaluating. That's what separates the good from the great. So, the kid takes his position. The room goes quiet. And I mean quiet. Quiet. Like pin drop silent. Everybody holding their breath. Phones recording from every angle. This random Tuesday at Nike headquarters suddenly felt like Game 7 of the finals. All because Caitlin Clark decided to have some fun with fans. The kid eyes the hoop, takes a breath, and lets it fly. Bro, splash. Nothing but net. Clean as you've ever seen it. The room erupted. I'm talking people screaming, clapping, losing their minds. This kid just drained a shot in front of one of the greatest shooters on the planet and won himself an autograph the hard way. You can see the pure joy on his face. That moment right there, that's going to stay with him forever. That's the kind of memory you tell your kids about someday. And Caitlin, she was hyped, too. Like genuinely hyped. She wasn't faking it for the cameras. She was dapping the kid up, smiling ear to ear, probably thinking, okay, this kid got some game. And then she signed whatever he wanted. I think it was a basketball or a jersey. The footage wasn't super clear on that part, but it didn't matter what it was. That kid walked away feeling like $1,000,000. Now, here's where my brain started going a different place. While I was watching all this unfold, I started thinking about the bigger picture. And I need y'all to really hear me on this because I think a lot of people are missing what's actually happening here. Caitlin Clark isn't just building a brand. She's building a legacy. And the foundation of that legacy isn't championships. Although those are going to come, trust me, the foundation is connection. It's moments like this. It's making everyday people feel like they matter. Because when you do that, when you make fans feel seen and appreciated, they ride for you forever. Through the ups and the downs, through the controversies and the haters, they stick with you because you stuck with them first. And Nike sees this. That's why they're going all in. That's why they got her logo plastered everywhere at headquarters. That's why her signature shoe, which we still got to talk about in detail, is being treated like the most important sneaker launch in years, because they know what they got. They know Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a movement. But yo, speaking of that signature shoe, let me drop some information on y'all that I don't think a lot of people are putting together yet because there's been some whispers coming out of this Nike visit. Some hints about what's coming in spring 2026. And if what I'm hearing is accurate, the sneaker game is about to get flipped upside down. Now, I can't confirm everything because Nike is tight-lipped about this stuff. They don't want leaks. They don't want a surprise ruined. But based on what we saw at headquarters, the promotional material, the branding choices, the overall aesthetic they're pushing with Caitlin's line, I think I got a pretty good idea of what direction they're going. And bro, it's genius. But before I break all that down, we got to talk about the next clip that dropped because Caitlin didn't just let the fans shoot. Nah, she decided to step up to the line herself. And what happened next? Let's just say not even Caitlin Clark is perfect. Alright, so here's where it gets interesting. And honestly, this might be my favorite part of the whole thing because it shows you a side of Caitlin Clark that people don't talk about enough. We always focus on her greatness. The highlights, the crazy shots she makes look easy, but what about when things don't go perfect? That's when you really see who somebody is. So after that kid drained his shot and got his autograph, the crowd started chanting for Caitlin take a turn. You know how it goes. Caitlin. 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 Everybody wanted to see the superstar do her thing. And look, this is a mini hoop, right? Tiny basketball. Weird distance. This ain't the same as shooting in a real gym. The dimensions are all off. The depth perception is different. It's actually harder than it looks. And I think people forget that sometimes. But Caitlin being Caitlin, she wasn't about to back down from a challenge, even a silly one like this. She grabbed that little mini ball, found her spot way behind what would be considered the three-point line for the setup, and got ready to let it fly. The crowd went absolutely silent again. Phones everywhere. Everybody expecting to witness something legendary. She took her shot. Beautiful form. Perfect release. The ball sailing through the air in slow motion. At least that's what it felt like watching the clip. And then, bro, she missed. Not even close, actually. The ball bounced off the rim and went sideways. And for a split second, just a split second, you could see the surprise on her face. Like, wait, that was supposed to go in. And the room got that awkward quiet again. You know that silence when everybody's trying to figure out how to react. Yeah, that. But here's the thing, and this is what separates Caitlin from so many other athletes. She didn't get embarrassed. She didn't make excuses. She didn't blame the ball or the hoop or the lighting or whatever. She just laughed. Like genuinely laughed at herself. Threw her hands up like, well, that happened. And kept it moving. And the crowd loved it. They started laughing with her, not at her, because she made it okay to laugh. She showed them that even the greatest shooter in women's basketball history can miss sometimes. And that's perfectly fine. That's human. That's real.